Hello, everybody. This is JDL Productions, and what you see in front of you here are three very similar yet very different smoke alarm models, and I thought I would make a video today sort of comparing the three of them. So, as you can see, first off, all three of these have a very similar design to them. As you can see, they're all rectangular and have these 8 sections of vents. These two are almost identical, but this one is a little different. As you can see, it's sort of closed off on this one side here. And all three of them have red test buttons. This one, or on both of these, it is sort of off to the right. And on this one, it is in the center. So I'm going to go ahead and start comparing the three of these, starting with the one on the far left here. This one is a General Electric Home Century Model SMK6. This one is from the early to mid-80s or so. I'm not sure of the exact date, but it is from the early to mid-80s. And it is an ionization unit that contains 2 microcuries of americium-241. Now, if we open it up here, see if I can do this. There we go. As you can see, here's the inside. It uses a trumpet-style piezo horn, a black plastic sensing chamber with a red button right on the top here, and there's where the battery goes. Very cool. And if we close it back up here and give it a test, let me go ahead and focus. This is what it sounds like. As you can hear, it is very high-pitched and pulses very fast. Very, very fast. So that's the first one. Now, moving on to this one right here. This one is actually quite a bit different. Like I said, it's just about identical to this one. This one, however, is made by Black & Decker. Now, this is actually not a rebrand of the GE. All three of these units were originally manufactured. The parts for them were manufactured by EI Electronics, which is an Irish company. So these were pretty much all made by EI Electronics. This one, however, unlike this one, is labeled by Black & Decker, and it is much different. This one is also an ionization unit from the mid-80s. This one, however, uses 0.9 microcuries of americium-241, unlike this one, which uses 2. And if we go ahead and open it up here, as you can see, it is a little bit different, but mostly the same. It's got your same trumpet-style piezo. This one, however, has these three slots around it, and it's not entirely smooth. As you can see, there's this little divot here. If we open the GE back up, as you can see, this one is smooth all the way around. There's no sort of divots or small little slots on it. So they are a little bit different. And the sensors are actually a little bit different as well. The sensors themselves aren't, but the test button configuration is. As you can see, this one's right on the top. However, this one actually is connected to this little tab, which presses onto this little silver plate here, which pretty much sounds the unit off. And it does sound very similar, which I will go ahead and demonstrate now. This one, however, pulses a little bit slower and is a little bit lower pitched, and it has a much slower or a much faster start time when you press the button. This one takes a second to actually go into alarm. So that's very interesting. Now this one right here is actually much different from these two. This is also a Black & Decker, however this one is an SMK60M3 from much later in the 80s. This one's from, I believe, 1987. And this one, like I said, has the test button in the center and has the left half of the vents closed off. And the test button on this one is a little different. As you can see, there's this sort of circular divot in the center that these two don't have. And if we open it up, it's actually much different. This one, by the way, also contains 0.9 microcuries of americium-241, just like this one. But if we open it up, it is actually much different. As you can see, this one, the test button is actually connected to the cover, and it presses down onto this metal tab right here. And this one uses the same trumpet-style piezo as this one with the 3 slots and the sort of divot right here. And the sensor is actually much different. This one is also plastic, but does not have those 3 slots on the side. It has this sort of divot going down into the center here and has all of these very small slots going around it. So the sensor design is much different. The entire sensor is basically different on this one, as you can see. So, yeah. And this one, if we go ahead and test it, has a much different sound to it. Well, as you heard, the sound itself isn't necessarily different, but as you can hear, this one beeps much slower, has around the same pitch as this one, a little bit slower, or a little bit lower, but this one beeps much, much slower, which is very interesting. So that is pretty much it. I figured I would just make a little video here sort of comparing these 3 units that I have in my collection that are very similar, yet much different, as you probably saw. So, yeah, there you have it, everybody.